Welcome to Printing Profits. Q4. If you run an online store, just the mere mention of the holiday rush has likely already got you sweating. The last quarter of the year is the busiest and also the most profitable time for online merchants, whether it's getting the right listings up, handling customer service and high expectations, or dealing with those tight deadlines. It pays to stay on top of the holiday season and all it has to offer you and your customers. Welcome to Printing Profits. I'm Tyler Zuffer. Byron Allen's rise as a force to be reckoned with in print-on-demand has been no small feat. He started his journey back in 2014 after purchasing a heat press to create his own t-shirts. And despite almost giving up after getting only a few sales, he opened his first Etsy store in 2018. But with the demands on his time increasing with his manual screen printing process, Byron eventually discovered print-on-demand and his sales took off. He earned his first $100,000 by the end of 2021, and by 2022 grew that number to $350,000. Needless to say, Byron knows a thing or two about working the holiday season, which is what we're going to talk to him about today. Hey, Byron, thanks for joining us.
Hey, no problem. I appreciate being here.
So listen, I've been reading your story and I'm absolutely fascinated because this whole journey started off for you with the purchase of your first heat press in 2014, before you even got to print on demand. Can you tell me, when you got that first heat press, what was some of the expectations that you had for your business?
So I don't know. I just really just jumped into it. I purchased it with the idea of just creating my designs, pressing my shirts, and then just selling the shirts as it was. So I really didn't have an expectation. I just jumped into it full throttle. And I started with contacting family members, getting those easy sales, but as you know, that's not scalable. And so, I just jumped into it. I was just looking for an opportunity, and it ended up growing once I started with my own website and stuff like that. So,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2015, I read that you decided to commit to being a full-time entrepreneur just a year after you got your press. And that didn't really work out for you for a while, didn't it? So what lessons did you learn during that time about running a business?
The biggest lesson I think that came from that was to track your analytics, because you would think that because you'll get into a point to where you're rolling and it's going good.
Yeah.
And so what happened with me was, during the holiday season, at that time, I didn't really understand how much of an impact Q4 has on the business. So I was doing really well. So it was like, okay, we're gonna roll with this, And so after Q4 ended, it just really just took a dive. And so at that time, I wasn't tracking analytics, as far as in sales and customer traffic and stuff like that. So the biggest thing I learned is to track your analytics. Data will help you a ton. It'll save you, because you could take your previous data, look forward, and you can predict what you will do in the future. So
how would that have helped you during that time? Like if you did have access to the data, how would that have helped you?
I would have known not to go full time.
Take a little bit of time before you dove into it. Yeah.
Take some time before it, because especially if I would have seen some data like previous businesses or something like that.
Yeah.
What would happen like outside of Q4, I would have known to look for the sales to take a dive rather than it coming as a surprise like that. And Yeah, we went to zero after that.
Well, how did you stay motivated? I mean, you mentioned the fact that there was a point where you weren't making a lot of sales. You were about to give up. What kept you in the game?
Um, just having this desire to, because okay, so the way I see it is like there's different ways you can create. So, there's an artist likes to draw, and that's one way to create. But I never see myself as like an artist.
Hmm.
So I like to create with business and to be able to create systems
Hmm.
to where I can run a business. So working my normal jobs, I wasn't able to really be able to put my ideas to test.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
so after a while, you just feel like you're stuck in a box,
Mm.
you know. And so wanting to get out that box really just kept me going, and I just wanted to be able to put my ideas to test more than being scared of failing, So
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, obviously, as an online seller now, you're no stranger to Q4. We were just talking about that. What are some of the ways now, after all the experience that you've had, that you prepare for the holiday season?
so now, what's funny about that is I used to work at a warehouse with Home Depot,
Hmm.
and we did all online orders, like the 1.2 square million foot building, and all the orders we're dealing with is online orders.
Right.
And so what I learned is that right after Q4 from the beginning, at the beginning of the year, you're preparing for the next Q4.
Mm.
And so that always stuck with me once I started back again. And so I just took that. And so the entire year, whatever we're doing, we're looking for winning products.
Mm.
So if the product is going to win throughout the year, Q4 is going to explode. So
Oh, I
that's all we're
see.
doing. That's all we're doing is looking for winning products. If we can win throughout the year, we know exactly what to, put the money into as far as in advertising and stuff like that, and let it take off.
That must be kind of tough, though, because Q4, is all about the holiday season. So how do you test holiday designs between January and, say, I don't know, September?
Well, the funny thing is we do holiday designs as well,
Hmm.
but a lot of the times what's funny is that with Q4, a lot of times people are buying stuff for their family members.
Hmm.
And so we make a lot of family oriented products. And so that's what we focus on a lot as far as in when we're doing product creation. So once Q4 hit, people are typing in something, a gift for grandma, a gift for grandpa, gift for mom. So when we create things that's family oriented, it really takes off. And then a lot of times, if you create some products for lower competition niches, so maybe it might be like a welder or a odd job that a lot of people don't work. A lot of times in Q4, people are looking for specific gifts for these people.
Right.
So you can have something that really don't do much during the year, and that can take off during Q4.
So how do you keep track of that? I mean, you just said that like you're testing stuff until Q4. If it works out, you put it in then. But a lot of this stuff that you try, you're saying also doesn't work until Q4. So how do you? What's the metric here? How do you know those products will do well if they're not already doing well in the earlier half of the year?
So we use tools such as E-Rank. I don't know if you heard of E-Rank.
Oh yeah, we know E-Rank.
Okay, so yeah, E-Rank, Allura. They got other ones, Marmalade,
Right.
and Everbee. So we use these type of tools,
SEO tools, trend trackers, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times what you'll see with some of these lower searched niches is that it peaks in December or November, December. So it's like, okay, it's not getting search traffic until this time. So that's kind of a way to let you know what could possibly work. It's not guaranteed, but it lets you know what could possibly work during Q4, because you will see it got one big spike. It's like, okay, what month is this? November, December,
Yeah. So not only are you trying to sell as much as possible during Q4, but you're also keeping track on trends to see what's popping so that you can kind of get that going on for next year, right?
Mm-hmm. The more you sell, the more you put out there, the more you sell, the more data you get. And then you look back at the previous year, that'll help you for the next year.
Right.
Go another year, now you got 2 years of data.
Oh yeah.
You look back, and so as you continue to build, your business get predictable. Once it gets predictable, it starts to get much easier. Then at that point, you're just focusing on scaling, because when you're first starting, you're just trying to get those sales, trying to see what's working and stuff like that. But once you get a good system down, it becomes predictable. And then now you're just working to see, how can I scale this? I know it's working. Now, how can I scale this year after year, pretty much?
Right. I mean, it sounds like you have a lot of intense demands, on your time, which is actually one of the reasons that you switched to POD in the first place, because, especially I can't imagine you manually printing all this stuff yourself, but how do you prioritize your workload during the holiday season? I mean, you're selling, you're tracking, you're creating, you're keeping track. How do you stay on top of it all?
It's Q4 is wild. Q4 is a very wild time. This past Q4, I thought I had everything, down packed to where I would just be monitoring the business, and so I ended up having to be the customer service rep for us. Because the amount of customer service request that we got was just, it was crazy. Like, I was literally probably answering anywhere from 200 to 500 messages per day. And I would work like 16, 17 hours a couple of days, and so that's not what I was expecting to be doing. But now, like I say, you get that data in. And so now we got a customer service person trained. Got two people that can do customer service. So now I'm more prepared going into this Q4. And so this Q4, I'm just looking to be on top of the day to day, So
must have been a nice feeling when you can finally take your business to the point where you're hiring staff.
Yeah, it is. It is. It frees up your time. A lot of people, they look to just at the profit. Which you want profit, but then you want to look at the long term. And when you look at the long term, you're going to make different decisions, rather than when you just looking to just make a quick dollar. And so I'm always looking down the road, in the future of growing this to multi-millions. So, I make different decisions versus me when I was just trying to make some money,
Well, hey, listen, now that I got you on the Q4 nostalgia, do you have like a favorite war story of yourself in Q4, like some of the craziest Q4 seasons you've ever heard? I mean, I know, listen, 500 to 600 emails gets pretty crazy, but has it ever gotten, worse than that or nuts than that?
That was it.
Really? That was it?
That was
that's not bad.
That was the war story.
500, 600 emails, man. I don't know how you did that.
Like before I moved to print on demand, when we was pressing the shirts ourselves, we would be working maybe 8-9 hours pressing shirts and shipping it out. I thought that was the war story, but no. customer service 16 hours, 17 hours in a day, to where I'm going to sleep and then waking up and going straight back to customer service.
Yeah.
That's it. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Well, listen, you talked about switching to print on demand, so I want to backtrack a little bit here. So you mentioned doing this all manually when you first started. What led you to switch to print on demand, and how did that help you grow your business?
All right. So what led me to switching to print on demand? We was growing pretty well, and in 2020, the crazy year, the stimulus checks dropped and stuff like that. So sales exploded for online, and so that was the first year we hit 100,000, and so as far as in sales.
Wow.
And so that next year, I didn't grow much.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow much at all. And when I look back at the data, I didn't spend much time creating products, because all of my time was spent printing and shipping and customer service and ordering, managing inventory. So that took my time up. So it was like, okay, in order for us to keep scaling, either we're going to have to get a building and start trying to get some help, or either I can go to print on demand. And so when I thought about it, if I would have to get a building, then that's going to be a different business model.
A lot more cost for sure.
A lot more cost, a totally different business model. So it was like, okay, what am I good at? And the thing that I'm good at the most is doing research. I love doing the boring stuff. So it's fun to me. It's fun to me when you can find a winning product or keyword to where it's just wide open, and it's like, wow, it's like digging for gold,
Yeah.
And so when I decided, okay, I'm gonna go with what I'm best at, where I can spend my time at. So it just made sense to go to print on demand. And so that's when I got with Printify, and then I started slowly shifting from me printing to Printify printing to eventually 100% print on demand. Yeah.
So how do you separate your time these days? I mean, you've come so far since then. So what is your time like? If we talk about the way that you divide your time, where does your time mostly go? Are you tracking the data? Are you designing more? Are you listing? Like, how does your schedule work out now?
So now, for me today, I don't spend any time designing or listing products. I got a system to where that gets taken care of. So mostly when I'm working in my business, or rather on it, I'm doing data. I'm just looking at data, and I'm doing research. And so when I find a nice hole, I could just say, hey, here we have something right here. Let's create some product. And then the system that I have, we can get products out there the next day once I find something. And so, mostly just working on data, finances, stuff like that. And then it also allowed me, since we have a system and I have people that work with me, it allows me to create content. I like content creation. So
you're dabbling in the marketing a little bit too.
Oh yeah. I'm doing some marketing. As far as in building a personal brand, teaching people the business, stuff like that. People want to learn. So that's the next system that I'm working on now, to where we're putting out content across multiple platforms, And so, and then also we're expanding, and that's another thing I'm working on as well. So I started with Etsy, which I'm still on Etsy, but we're expanding into our Shopify store, and we're getting into thank you. And so we're getting into running ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, in actually like building the brand now to where, because we got a big customer base. So now it's just bringing them in on our social media, creating content, and just making them loving Royal fans, so
repeat customers, getting them coming back, right? Because that's
exactly.
the thing. Like once you sort of like nourish your niche or nourish your audience, that content that you're talking about is, especially if you're trying to get organic traffic back to your stores, is super, super important. Was that a priority for you in the beginning, like when you first started, or was it just sort of like get the products in the top trending niches, or is that something newer now that you're focusing on creating this organic traffic?
Yeah, it's something I'm doing more so of now, because I understand Etsy is a marketplace, and it's, you can bring customers back. We get repeat customers, but at the same time, with the attention span of today, and the algorithms is getting really good at showing you what you want to get. I understand that, they can purchase from other people.
Yeah.
And so that's why I never really focused on repeat customers on the Etsy platform.
Interesting.
I just focus on winning products, just finding winning products that people love. And so now when we start with our Shopify and really pushing the Shopify store, then we're going to be looking to bring the customers back in, because now we'll have more control as far as in what we can do with email marketing. We can mail something to their door,
right?
Just have a little more fun with it, So now we're focusing on repeat customers now and building that customer base. Not to say that we didn't do it.
Yeah.
Not to say that we didn't do it, but it just more so now.
It's more of a priority now, because like you said, like that, just the way that Etsy works is completely different than, the kind of traffic that you're trying to get to a Shopify site. Like that's where more of that, attention should go. I mean, you talked about analyzing the data. You talked about, making sure you're keeping an eye on SEO. When when Q4 is done and that holiday season is over, and you mentioned that you're testing out new products, what kind of changes do you try to make for the next year? Is it like, how do you evaluate how well Q4 went? Like, I know it's like, did we make a lot of money? Of course. But like, to your standards, how do you evaluate if it went well or not?
Well, yeah, of course, the sales is one thing, but then it's also is like how smooth was our process? It's like, did we have bottlenecks, and okay, how would we solve these bottlenecks? And so, like, for example, we do a lot of custom products on Etsy, and Etsy don't have the best system as far as in with custom things when you need to get maybe photos from customers and stuff like that. And so that's where we, worked on as far as in getting workarounds. And so we've worked on a system for that, and we have put it into testing. So it's going pretty good. So just seeing, what our bottlenecks are. So going back to the customer service thing, how can we improve that? And just kind of like having a meeting of, okay, we could breathe. Okay, what happened? What did everybody like? What did they not like? And then it just kind of like having a round table, and then just actually doing something about the issues that we had, and looking to see how we can make it more easier for the next year.
Well, hey Byron, before I let you go, what I find fascinating about your story is you did this by yourself in the beginning. You got the heat press by yourself. You started to create your Etsy store by yourself. Next thing you know, you're finding yourself in charge of people. You're leading a team, and then it's a workshopping process. You finish, you start over, you keep working with them, you try to become better. How does that feel now, going from like an individual entrepreneur and operator by yourself to now being in charge of a team? I mean, what lessons did you have to learn along the way? Because it's not, is it the same as like running a store? I imagine it must be different.
You know, it's funny. I was just thinking about that right before you asked, because sometimes I look at like our systems that we have,
Yeah.
and it's like, dang, like I created this,
Yeah.
and it's like taking a form of its own.
Yeah.
And man, sometimes I just sit back and think about it because I remember the days where, you know, I'm going to the library,
Yeah.
you know, 4 or 5 hours straight, just creating listings, doing everything by myself. And so it's crazy to think about it now, how it is now. So what I would say, as far as what's on top of my head, giving somebody advice, if you're working a job and they have leadership training, take the leadership training.
Interesting.
Because that will help you a lot. And so I took leadership training at my last 2 previous jobs. So it helps you as far as in with dealing with people, conflict resolution and stuff like that. So pretty much everything I learned in the past helped me today.
Yeah.
You know, the things that I thought I wouldn't need again, you know, it all come back full circle. So everything I've learned has come back to help me today. So,
but you got to be purposeful about it. That's the thing. You got to make sure that you never lose a skill, right? You're always gaining skills and seeing how you can apply them.
Yeah, exactly. Have intention.
Yeah.
Intention. Be sure. Make sure when you make a decision, you can ask yourself, why am I doing it, and have an answer. If you can do that, you'll get much further faster, because a lot of us, you know, we're just floating through life, you know, with really no plan and no purpose. As long as you can have your plan and a purpose and intention, you can guide your steps. You're gonna get there. You know, you might run into a detour, but you know the destination. You know, it's kind of like Google Maps or something. You know, it's gonna get you there.
Google Maps your life. I love that. Well, hey, there's no better mic drop moment than that moment right there. Byron, thanks for chatting with us today. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate it.
This is Printing Profits.
Hey, this is Printing Success, crisp tips by Sarah from Wholesale TED. And one tip that I have is that one of the best ways to get upsells for customers is to repurpose your design onto multiple products. Because you think about it, right? If a customer really likes a design as a t-shirt, then if you go and print that design onto other products such as a sticker or a hoodie, when they see that, they'll go, oh, I really loved it as a t-shirt. Why don't I also buy it then as a sticker? And the same applies to pattern prints as well. If you have a popular pattern print, then you can repurpose that as well by selling it onto other all-over products such as blankets or pillows or other all-over print clothing. To get inspired, check out the bestsellers tab within Printify to see what other products that you could repurpose your designs onto.
This is Printing Profits. As Madonna said, if we take a holiday, just time to celebrate, it would be so nice for our profit margins. Okay, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I did add in that last bit, but it still makes sense. In today's trend spotting, we're diving deeper into classic holiday tropes and how to find new niches that'll help you stand out and earn more money. Now, while the holidays do bring in the most money, they're also the most saturated with competition. Let's start with a bang. Christmas. It's the most wonderful and most profitable time of the year. But before you start adding a bunch of reds and greens and selling designs with Santa hats, Christmas trees, jingle bells, and ho 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 quotes, remember that this is all shoppers see at this time of the year. Try merging your Christmas designs instead with pop culture phenomena that are currently trending. For example, if everyone's gushing over Pedro Pascal in December, make an All I Want for Christmas is a Daddy t-shirt with a picture of your favorite zombie-slaying father figure in the front. Next up, the scariest time of the year, Black Friday. Oh, sorry, I meant Halloween. Instead of simply slapping an orange jack-o'-lantern on a t-shirt, think about ways to adapt traditionally scary characters like ghosts, skeletons, and movie villains into something funny or even cute, like I can't wait to seance you again. For Independence Day, dive deeper into the red, white, and blue. Go for a retro Americana design. Think old school Coca-Cola and glass bottles, diners, and a more muted color scheme. And last but definitely not least, Thanksgiving. Look beyond the turkeys and think of other Thanksgiving tropes like pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice lattes, family gatherings, for better or for worse, football, and of course, leftovers. Take them and create cute animated characters or slap on a witty pun. So to summarize in a nutshell, 1, when creating a design, research what others are selling and take a different approach. And number 2, try to find ways to adapt current pop culture trends to a more holiday-themed design. Thanks for listening to Printing Profits. We'd like to thank Byron Allen for sharing his experience with us, and at the same time, introduce you to the talented team behind this program. Executive producer, Laura Gelvite. Associate producer, Anita Njoki. Technical and video production, Emil Ziasuns and Valery Zolechno. Sound production, Christers Hartmanis. And I'm Taler Zuffer. See you next time.